Right now, a House committee is getting ready to take the first key vote on the bill to end the government shutdown. By this time tomorrow night, it could be on its way to the president's desk. Could be because a lot depends on enough House members returning from their districts by then to pass it. And that depends on whether they can catch a flight back to Washington, with airlines still trimming schedules and air traffic controllers who haven't been paid in weeks still in short supply. Even if those lawmakers can get flights, there's no guarantee that air travel will go back to normal right away or anytime soon.
Even if we see the government reopen this week, could we see delays for Thanksgiving travel?
So it depends on, are we going to have air traffic controllers come into work?
Well, that's the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy today. Here's the president on Fox last night promising the air traffic controllers who did stay on the job through the shutdown money, which he admits he doesn't have.
I'm sending them a $10,000 bonus.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't know. I'll get it from someplace. I always get the money from someplace regardless. It doesn't matter.
Well, it may matter to the men and women with bills to pay and families to support who showed up to do very difficult and demanding jobs and got paid nothing for it for weeks. They've already been hurt by the shutdown, so have people who rely on food assistance. The president went so far as to ask the Supreme Court to let them go hungry. So was anyone who depends on government services beyond just air traffic control that were degraded or unavailable. But that pledge you heard the president makes pales next to another one he now seems to be walking away from, the one he once made about a problem, rising prices that the shutdown did not cause but certainly put a spotlight on.
From today and from the day I take the oath of office, we will rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again.
Well, that's candidate Donald Trump campaigning in North Carolina 2 summers ago on the economy and rising prices. And here he is last night on Fox talking about the very same thing.
More than anything else, it's a con job by the Democrats. They're saying, they just have to say, they put out something, say today costs are up.
Well, the president last night, and here he is last Thursday.
Everything is way down, and the press doesn't report it. So I don't want to hear about the affordability.
Well, it's funny he says that because once upon a time, it seemed like all he wanted voters to hear from him.
So when I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one. Prices will come down. You just watch. They'll come down, and they'll come down fast. We will rapidly drive prices down. We will rapidly defeat inflation. We're going to bring your prices down. People that used to live a nice life 4 years ago, they can't afford an apple. I will end inflation. But if I win, we will rapidly defeat inflation. They call it groceries. Bacon, lettuce, tomato, everything is so much higher than it ever was.
Well, he and Republicans won big on that issue last year, and Democrats won on it this year.
The cost of living is the real crisis. I will, however, be a mayor who is ready to speak at any time to lower the cost of living.
New York is suffering from a crisis, and it's called halalflation.
And I'm ready to get to work to lower costs.
Virginians are struggling to afford the rising costs in healthcare, housing, and energy.
Mikey is a mom who will drive down costs for New Jersey families.
I'm fighting for affordability. I'm fighting to get your costs down.
I am laser focused on driving down costs for families like yours.
Well, now, a week after Democrats running on affordability had their best single election in years, and with his polling numbers underwater on how he's handling the economy, the president's response is to say he doesn't want to hear about it. But there's more to it. He's also saying he's already largely solved the problem.
So are you ready? Costs are way down. Gasoline is going to be hitting $2 pretty soon, or around $2.
Well, in fact, he said it already is down to $2.70 a gallon. It's not. According to AAA, gas is averaging $3.08 a gallon, which is down from this time last year, but only by 2 cents from $3.10. Grocery prices, which the president says are, quote, way down, are actually up by about 2.7% in September over September 2024. They're also up by about 1.5% since the president took office. In the face of that, the president could be saying things like, I know it's still rough out there. I understand why some of you voted the way you did last week. I hear you. We're working on it. He could talk about cheaper eggs, which is true, or his effort to lower drug prices. But he's not. And even conservatives are noticing.
And now Republicans are perversely doing the same thing Democrats did when they were in office with Joe Biden, say, no, actually, don't believe your eyes at the grocery store. Prices are coming down. That's not helpful to Americans who are feeling higher grocery costs right now, which is actually happening.
And as it's been happening with prices rising, the government shutdown, and the president petitioning the Supreme Court to keep 42 million SNAP recipients from receiving their full benefits, Americans have been watching the president jetting down to Mar-a-Lago for weekend parties like this one with a Great Gatsby theme, and who can put a price on that? Shortly before airtime, the Supreme Court extended its pause on a judge's order that the administration fully fund SNAP. This one expires tomorrow. And with people going hungry, just moments ago on Fox News, we saw the president giving a tour of White House renovations and proudly pointing things out.
If you look at the air conditioner vent, it's book matched.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Who can do that? I can do that because I know that, it's even available that you can do that. Very few people can do it.
Joining me now, CNN political commentator and Republican strategist Brad Todd, and CNN chief political analyst and former senior advisor to President Obama, David Axelrod. David, what does President Trump get by arguing that affordability is not really a problem?
Beats the hell out of me. I have to say, on your air, many, many times during the last presidency, I said that President Biden was making a great mistake by trying to jawbone people to feel what they didn't experience in their own lives about the economy. And now we have Trumponomics here. We have the same campaign going here. Inflation is up. Jobs are slowed to a trickle. People are suffering with these tariffs. And that's why consumer confidence, the Michigan index just came out, the sort of gold standard, and it's the second lowest on record. People are hurting out there, and the president seems completely oblivious to it. And what's really baffling about it is he's defying the standard that he held President Biden to, and he is obviously not living up to the commitment that he made.
Brad, do you see it that President Trump is going down the same road that President Biden did?
Well, I see two troubling things here. One thing for any elected official is you should never tell the voters that the mission has been accomplished, because otherwise they'll start looking around for who to accomplish the next mission. The second thing is we're not all experts on everything. But we are experts on what we pay every day. And sure, there are some things going down. As you mentioned, eggs are going down, butter's down, coffee's down, gasoline's down, energy overall is down, although electricity is stubbornly going back up.
I think coffee was up 15% last I checked. But
but that doesn't mean the prices are where voters want them to be. And so my advice to the president would be to convey that he's continuing to fight to bring prices down, and that he's fighting to make more things affordable, and that he inherited a mess and he's working on it.
David, CNN's reporting that the president sees the economy as a perception and messaging issue. How do you square that with, throwing a Great Gatsby themed party at Mar-a-Lago, last night showing off, the gold accents in the Oval Office, obviously the East Wing demolition, which was privately paid for?
Yeah, I'm going to put that in the category of rhetorical questions. I mean, obviously, when large numbers of people, 61% of Americans said in the CNN poll that his policies have made the economy worse, and he's so used to being able to sell whatever he's selling that he believes that he can jawbone his way through this. But the contrast between the opulence and the focus, it's not, even if you set aside the Gatsby theme, which is incredibly tasteless given the situation, and some of the other stuff, there is this sense that he just doesn't get it, that he's not focused on what he's supposed to be focused on and what they hired him to do. He was hired because people felt he had a strong economic record the last time, and he was a businessman who knew how to run the economy. He told them he would lower prices, and he's focused on everything but. And I think it's a tremendous political problem for him and for the Republicans, as you saw last Tuesday, and I think you'll see again in the midterms unless there's a course correction.
Brad, do you think Republicans should look at last week's election and as a flashing red light, a warning?
Well, you should lose. Every time you lose, you need to figure out what did you do wrong that caused you to lose or made it worse than it would have been if you hadn't made mistakes. That's just responsible politics. So yes, I would. If I were Democrats, I'd be worried about Zoran Mandami in New York and all the things that's going to bring negatively to them. Winning was a bad idea there. But for sure, Republicans need to look deep at the election results and say, what did we do wrong? You know, we have to win on criminal justice, immigration, and the economy. We have to. Those are the three legs of the stool in any Republican election. And so we have to get back on top on the economy, and Republicans in Congress know that. And if they don't know that, they're kidding themselves.